theorem, let Sn and Tn be sequences such that limit of Sn is equal to plus infinity and limit of Tn is strictly greater than 0, then limit of Sn into Tn is equal to plus infinity, is equal to plus infinity. Discussion. Consider, we have to prove that limit of Sn Tn is equal to plus infinity. So we have to consider a capital M greater than 0. We need to show Sn Tn is greater than capital M for large n. Large n. Then directly I can say that limit of Sn Tn is equal to plus infinity by the definition of diverges to plus infinity. Since what is given in the statement, limit of Tn is greater than 0. This is a real number which is strictly greater than 0. Between 0 and this real number there are infinite number of real numbers. So we will choose a real number small m such that limit of Tn is greater than m is greater than 0. Since limit of Tn is strictly greater than 0, between these two there are infinite number of real numbers. Out of those real numbers I am going to select any one between 0 and limit of Tn. This implies what you got here, m is less than limit of Tn. This implies limit of the sequence Tn is greater than m, means there exist a terms of a sequence which are greater than m for large n. For large n. This implies, means for large values of n, those terms are greater than m. This implies n greater than capital N1 implies Tn is greater than small m. Now since one more thing is given in the statement that limit of Sn is plus infinity. That is, by the definition I can write that for each capital M greater than 0 there exists capital N2 such that small n greater than capital N2 implies Sn is greater than m by small m. I can write, because this one satisfy for each m. I can take m by m also, because m is also greater than 0, capital M is also greater than 0, then m by m is also greater than 0. I can use this one. So what I did here, first I considered capital M. Now I have to prove that Sn Tn is greater than capital M. So I can say that limit of Sn Tn is equal to plus infinity. Since given that limit of Tn is greater than 0, between these two there exists a real number, select any one real number. Since limit of Tn is greater than m, therefore for large values of n, those terms of a sequence are greater than m. Means here you can say that is, there exists capital N1 such that small n greater than capital N1 implies Tn is greater than small m. Again, since limit of Sn is equal to plus infinity, I wrote this one by using the definition of diverges to plus infinity. Now whatever we have discussed, we are going to use here now in the formal proof. Let capital M is greater than 0. Since limit of Sn is equal to plus infinity, from the definition, that is there exists capital N1 such that small n greater than capital N1 implies Sn is greater than capital M by small m. Let us take this one as equation number 1. Since in the statement clearly given that 0 is less than limit of Tn, so select a real number small m such that 0 less than m less than limit of Tn. This implies m is less than limit of Tn. Since limit of Tn is greater than m, that is, there exists capital N2 such that small n greater than capital N2 implies Tn is greater than small m. Equation number 2. Now let capital N is equal to maximum of N1 comma N2. For small n greater than capital N, if I take any small n which is greater than capital N, means what is capital N? Maximum of these two. Then small n is greater than N1 as well as small n is greater than N2. Since small n is greater than both, then it will satisfy both equation number 1 and equation number 2. So implies Sn Tn. Sn is greater than m by n and Tn is greater than m by 1 and 2. M get cancelled. This implies Sn Tn is greater than capital M. Therefore, limit of Sn Tn is equal to plus infinity. This is the proof of the theorem. The theorem statement says that if one sequence diverges to plus infinity, and other sequence whose limit is positive, then product of the sequence diverges to plus infinity. If one sequence is plus infinity and another sequence limit is positive, then the limit of the sequence, product of the sequence is plus infinity. If this one would negative, then here we will get minus infinity. If it is minus infinity and this is positive, we will get minus infinity. So this is the proof of the theorem. Now we will discuss the next theorem. For a sequence Sn of positive real numbers, we have limit of Sn is equal to plus infinity if and only if limit of 1 by Sn is equal to 0. Proof. What is the given? We have given a sequence Sn such that all the terms of a sequence are positive, strictly greater than 0. Then limit of sequence is plus infinity if and only if limit of its reciprocal, that is 1 by Sn is 0. So let Sn be a sequence of positive real numbers. Since it is given that it is positive, that is each and every term of a sequence are strictly greater than 0 for all n. Now first we will consider this one. Suppose that limit of Sn is equal to plus infinity. Let epsilon greater than 0 and capital M is equal to 1 by epsilon. Since epsilon is greater than 0, 1 by positive is greater than 0. Since limit of Sn is equal to plus infinity, means for each capital M greater than 0, there exists a capital N such that small n greater than capital N implies Sn is greater than capital M. From the definition I wrote, from the definition of diverges to plus infinity. That is, small n greater than capital N implies Sn greater than 1 by epsilon. This implies small n greater than capital N implies cross multiply epsilon greater than 1 by Sn. This implies small n greater than capital N implies epsilon is greater than modulus of 1 by Sn. Since Sn is positive, then 1 by Sn is also positive. Modulus of positive will get the same thing again. Since Sn is positive, this implies 1 by Sn is positive. This implies n greater than capital N implies, this one can be written as modulus of 1 by Sn minus 0 is less than epsilon. This is the definition of nothing but limit of the sequence. Therefore, limit of 1 by Sn is equal to 0. This part is completed. Now converse part. Converse part says that conversely, suppose that limit of 1 by Sn is equal to 0. So let capital M greater than 0 and epsilon is equal to 1 by M. Since M is greater than 0, then 1 by M is also greater than 0. Since limit of 1 by Sn is 0, then for each epsilon there exists a capital N such that small n greater than capital N implies modulus of this one minus 0 is less than epsilon. Then there exists a capital N such that small n greater than capital N implies modulus of 1 by Sn minus 0 is less than epsilon. That is, small n greater than capital N implies modulus of 1 by Sn is less than epsilon. Now since 1 by Sn is positive, so modulus of positive will become again positive. N greater than capital N implies 1 by Sn is less than epsilon. Now cross multiply, n greater than capital N implies 1 by epsilon is less than Sn. This implies n greater than capital N implies capital M is less than Sn. This is the capital M. From here we will get. This implies small n greater than capital N implies Sn is greater than capital M. This one only I wrote here, therefore, which is nothing but limit Sn is equal to plus infinity. Therefore, which completes the proof of the theorem. Next, a problem. Let t1 is equal to 1 and tn plus 1 is equal to tn square plus 2 by 2tn for n greater than or equal to 1. t1 is equal to 1 and tn plus 1 is equal to tn square plus 2 by 2tn. Assume the sequence tn converges and find the limit. Find the limit. Solution: let t1 is equal to 1 and tn plus 1 is equal to tn square plus 2 by 2tn. for all n greater than or equal to 1. Let us take this one as equation number 1. In the statement clearly given that assume that the sequence converges. So let us assume that the sequence Tn is converges. So now assume the sequence Tn converges and converges to some t, say. Since it is convergent, then it is definitely converges to some real number. Let us take t. That is limit of Tn is equal to t. If limit of Tn is equal to t, then we will get limit of Tn plus 1 is also equal to t. Now consider what is the given. Tn plus 1 is equal to Tn square plus 2 by 2 Tn. Now I am going to take limits on both sides. So what you will get here, limit of Tn plus 1 is equal to limit of Tn square plus 2 by 2 Tn. Now from algebra of limit of Sn by Tn can be written as limit of Sn by limit of Tn. Limit of Sn plus Tn can be written as limit of Sn plus limit of Tn by, again same thing, limit of constant into this one can be written as constant into limit of Tn, which implies this one, limit of Tn into Tn can be written as limit of Tn whole square plus limit of constant is same 2 by 2 into limit of Tn. This implies limit of Tn plus 1. But what is limit of Tn plus 1? T is equal to, what is limit of Tn is t square plus 2 by 2t. Now cross multiply, we are going to get 2t square is equal to t square plus 2. This implies t square is equal to 2. This implies t is equal to under root 2. Therefore, limit of Tn is equal to under root 2. This is the answer we have to get. This is the answer we have to get. Now, next definition. Monotone sequences. Already you have learned the word monotone in your intermediate level in the terms of functions. There you have learned that if a function is increasing or decreasing, or either increasing or decreasing, then we will say that the function is monotone function. Or same thing here we are going to learn in the terms of sequence, because sequence is also a function we have learned at the time of the definition of a sequence. The definition says that a sequence Sn of real numbers is called an increasing sequence if Sn is less than or equal to Sn plus 1 for all n. For all n. That is, for all n, if I take n is equal to 1, S1 is less than or equal to S2. Again, n is equal to 2, S2 is less than or equal to S3. S3 is less than or equal to S4, so on. Means a sequence is said to be an increasing sequence if it is an increasing order. Means the first term is less than or equal to second one. Second term is less than or equal to third one. Third one is less than or equal to the fourth one, so on. means the terms are going to increase. Therefore, then we say that the sequence is increasing sequence. A sequence Sn of real numbers is called an decreasing sequence if Sn is greater than or equal to Sn plus 1 for all n. That is, if I take n is equal to 1, means S1 should be greater than or equal to S2. If I take n is equal to 2, S2 is greater than or equal to S3. S3 is greater than or equal to S4, so on. Then this sequence is said to be a decreasing sequence. Here clearly we can observe that the first term is greater than or equal to the second term. Second term is greater than or equal to third one. Third one is greater than or equal to fourth one. Means the terms are reducing. Therefore, it is a decreasing. Here the terms are increasing. Therefore, the sequence is said to be an increasing sequence. Here the terms are said to be a decreasing. This is the formula to know whether the sequence is increasing or decreasing. Next definition: a sequence of real numbers, a sequence Sn of real numbers is called an monotone sequence or a monotonic sequence if it is either increasing sequence or decreasing sequence. A sequence of real number is said to be a monotone sequence or a monotonic sequence if it is either increasing sequence or it should be a decreasing sequence. Note: first one, if Sn is a sequence which is increasing, if Sn is an increasing sequence, then when I am saying that the sequence is increasing sequence, then this is the sequence. This is the sequence. If I take any two terms in the sequence, let us take S2 and S5. I am going to take 2 and 5. 2 is less than or equal to 5. Then its term, that is S2, and its term, that is S5, will be greater than or equal to. If I take the previous term and if I compare with the next term, whatever we are coming in the series sequence, then that term should be greater than or equal to the previous term. If not only S2 and S5, if I take any randomly two numbers, two terms of a sequence, one is earlier and one is later, then the earlier term will be less than or equal to the later term, since the sequence is increasing. So here I can write that then I can say that Sm is less than or equal to Sm whenever m is less than n. If I am going to take two terms, one is Sm, one is Sn. M is going to come earlier, n is going to come later. Then its term, that is Sm, will be less than or equal to the latter term. Then only we can say that the sequence is increasing. Either we can use the earlier formula or you can use this formula. A same definition I am going to use for the decreasing. If Sn is decreasing sequence, then whenever m is less than n, you have to get that Sm is greater than or equal to Sn. The same process for the decreasing. The sequence is said to be decreasing if the first term is greater than or equal to the second, second is greater than or equal to third, so on. First is greater than or equal to second, second is greater than or equal to so on. If I take any two terms of a decreasing sequence, those terms which are coming first earlier will be greater than those terms which are going to come later. The same thing here. I took m is less than n, then this term will become early, this term will become later. Then earlier term will be greater than or equal to later term. Therefore the terms of a sequence is said to be a decreasing sequence. This one is said to be an increasing sequence. We can use the earlier formula or also we can use this formulas. For example, an is equal to 1 minus 1 by n, bn is equal to n cube, cn is equal to 1 plus 1 by n whole to the power of n are increasing sequence. You can substitute the terms of a sequence and you can see all the terms are going to increase. Similarly, I am going to use an example for decreasing. dn is equal to 1 by n square or 1 by n, anything you can take. En is equal to 1 by n are decreasing sequence, are decreasing sequence. Now next example, I can also give an example. Let Sn I am going to take as minus 1 to the power of n. I can say that this sequence is neither increasing nor decreasing. Why? If S1 is minus 1, S2 is 1, S3 is minus 1, S4 is again 1, so on. Okay, clearly S1 is less than or strictly less than S2. Again S2 is greater than S3, S3 is again less than S1, S4, so on. Therefore, it is not satisfying neither the definition of increasing nor the definition of decreasing. Therefore, Sn is neither increasing nor decreasing sequence. Therefore, if it is neither increasing nor decreasing, therefore it is not a monotone sequence. Therefore, it is not a monotone sequence. It is not a monotone sequence. Now, a theorem: all bounded monotone sequences converge. Already we have learned a bounded, a monotone sequences. Proof, case 1. Let Sn be a bounded, clearly given in the statement that the sequence is bounded. It is also given that the sequence is monotone, but I don't know whether the sequence is increasing or decreasing. If any sequence is either increasing or decreasing, then the sequence is monotone. So here I have to prove into two cases. One case is increasing, another case is decreasing. Let the Sn be a bounded increasing sequence. Let capital S is equal to, I am writing all the terms of a sequences in this set, and let us take supremum of this set is equal to capital M. Already we have discussed what is the definition of a supremum, that is the least upper bound. So let epsilon greater than 0. Since what is the supremum of the set S is capital M. Supremum is nothing but the least upper bound. When we are saying it is a least upper bound, means no other upper bound is least among. This is the smallest among all the upper bounds. Means no other upper bound is smaller than the least upper bound. Means this is the least one among all the upper bounds. If I remove a small amount from this, then this will be smaller than this one. Since this is the least upper bound, then this one can't be an upper bound. If this one is an upper bound, then which is smaller than this one, it can't be a least upper bound. Since you are considering this one is a supremum, then this one can't be an upper bound. Is not an upper bound for the set yes. For the set yes. Now, since this is not an upper bound, the definition, now I am going to again near the upper bound. Since this is not an upper bound, the definition of upper bound says that any real number is said to be an upper bound if all the elements are less than or equal to. This one is not an upper bound, means not all the elements are less than or equal to m minus epsilon, because it is not an upper bound. If it is an upper bound, all the elements should be less than or equal to. Since it is not an upper bound, means not all the elements are less than or equal to. Means at least one element in the set which is greater than or equal to. So here I can write that then there exists capital N such that that term is greater than capital M minus epsilon. Equation number 1. Equation number 1. Since Sn is an increasing sequence, then we have for all those small n greater than or equal to capital N, for all those small n greater than or equal to capital N, from the definition of increasing sequence, n is greater than or equal to capital N means its term is greater than or equal to this term. So I can say that Sn is greater than or equal to Sn. That is, S capital N is less than or equal to Sn for all those n which are greater than or equal to capital N. Equation number 2. Equation number 2. Now, since capital M is nothing but the supremum of a set, this implies, since it is a supremum of a set, means it is nothing but the least upper bound. It is a least upper bound, the name itself saying it is an upper bound. Upper bound means all the elements are less than or equal to this M. Therefore, Sn is less than or equal to capital M for all n. Equation number 3. Therefore, by 1, 2 and 3 we get for all those small n greater than capital N implies, from equation number 1, capital M minus epsilon is less than Sn. From equation number 2, Sn is less than or equal to Sn. And Sn is less than or equal to capital M. Is less than or equal to capital M. This implies for small n greater than capital N implies capital M minus epsilon. This one is less than this one is less than or equal to this one is less than or equal to this one. Means this one lie between these two is less than Sn is less than or equal to M. And we know that capital M is less than capital M plus epsilon. If I add a small amount to this one, therefore that element will be greater than this one. So this implies for small n greater than capital N implies capital M minus epsilon is less than Sn is less than capital M plus epsilon. This implies for small n greater than capital N implies minus epsilon less than Sn minus capital M less than epsilon. This implies for small n greater than capital N implies modulus of Sn minus capital M is less than epsilon. This is nothing but the definition of limit of Sn is equal to capital M. Therefore, if the limit of Sn is equal to capital M, therefore the limit existed. If a limit exists, then we say that the sequence convergent. Therefore, the sequence Sn is convergent. This is the proof of the case 1. Similarly, we are going to prove the case 2. Let Sn be a bounded decreasing sequence. Let capital S is equal to all those terms of a sequence where n belongs to a set of all natural numbers, and let us take infimum of the set S. Infimum of a set S is equal to small m. Let epsilon greater than 0. Since what is the infimum of a S is small m. What is the definition, other word of an infimum? Infimum is nothing but the greatest lower bound. Therefore, small m is the greatest lower bound. Means no other lower bound, no other any real number greater than capital M will be a lower bound. If any number greater than small m is an lower bound, then that will be a greatest one. This one can't be a greater. Since I am saying that this is the greatest lower bound, if I add a small amount to this one, that one will not an lower bound. This implies small m plus epsilon is not an lower bound for S. This implies when I am saying this is not a lower bound, means at least one element of a set is less than this one. If all the elements are greater than or equal to, then this will be a lower bound. Since this is not a lower bound, at least one element of a set is less than or equal to. So there exists capital N such that the term Sn is less than m plus epsilon. Equation number 4. Since Sn is decreasing sequence, from the definition I can say that we have for all those small n greater than or equal to capital N, its term, that is Sn, and its term is Sn. This is the previous term, this is the next term what we are going to get. Since it is a decreasing term, then the previous term will be greater than or equal to the next term. So here we will get Sn. This is the next term, previous term. Previous term is greater than or equal to the next terms. Equation number 5. Since what is small m is the infimum of S. Since we are saying it is an infimum, it is nothing but a greatest lower bound. the name itself saying it is an lower bound, means all the elements are greater than or equal to this one. So m is less than or equal to Sn for all n. Equation number 6. Now I am going to use the equation number 4, 5 and 6. By 4, 5 and 6 we get that. So first let us take equation number 6. After 6 I will take 5, after 5 I will take 4. We get that for small n greater than capital N implies, equation number 6 says that small m is less than or equal to Sn. Equation number 5 says that Sn is less than or equal to S capital N. And equation number 4 says that Sn is less than small m plus epsilon. This implies for small n greater than capital N implies small m is less than or equal to Sn, Sn is less than m plus epsilon. This implies for small n greater than capital N implies m minus epsilon is less than m is less than or equal to Sn, Sn is less than m plus epsilon. This implies for small n greater than capital N implies m minus epsilon is less than Sn, Sn is less than m plus epsilon. This implies for small n greater than capital N implies minus epsilon less than Sn minus m less than epsilon. This implies for small n greater than capital N implies modulus of Sn minus m is less than epsilon. Therefore, limit of the sequence Sn is equal to small m. Therefore, the sequence Sn is convergent. This is a proof of the theorem. While proving the theorem, we have learned something that, first of all, in the case 1, if any sequence which is bounded and increasing, if any sequence which is bounded and increasing, then that sequence is going to converge the supremum. If any sequence which is bounded and decreasing, then that sequence is going to converge the infimum of a sequence.